Have you ever watched a perfectly orchestrated plan unravel in real time? Because what happened to Mark Kelly this week wasn't just political embarrassment, it was systematic destruction. And I witnessed every moment of it from the inside. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday morning that nobody saw coming. Kelly thought he had crafted the perfect message. 6 carefully chosen lawmakers delivering what looked like a spontaneous warning to our military. But there was something about the timing, the polish, the absolute precision of their words that made my historian's instincts scream. This wasn't conscience speaking. This was choreography. I've studied propaganda campaigns across centuries, from ancient Rome to modern psychological warfare. And what I saw in that video matched templates I'd only encountered in foreign destabilization operations. The emotional temperature was manufactured. The urgency was engineered. Even the lighting followed patterns designed to maximize psychological impact. But here's what nobody expected. The FBI wasn't fooled either, and what they found goes deeper than anyone imagined. You see, I've spent decades analyzing how power structures collapse from within, and there's always a moment when the architects reveal themselves through their own precision. That moment came when investigators noticed something extraordinary about the video's metadata. The production timeline showed coordination across 6 different time zones, with encrypted file transfers happening at 3 a.m. Eastern, exactly when most foreign influence operations begin their workday in other hemispheres. The technical sophistication was staggering. Professional-grade color correction software, military specification encryption protocols, and communication channels that required security clearances to access. This wasn't political activism. This was operational tradecraft. The kind I'd only seen in classified briefings about foreign intelligence services targeting democratic institutions abroad. But the most chilling discovery came from voice analysis. Linguistic experts identified micro-patterns in the lawmaker's speech that suggested external coaching. Specific phrase structures, emotional inflection points, even breathing patterns that matched psychological manipulation techniques developed by foreign adversaries. Someone had trained these 6 individuals to deliver maximum psychological impact while maintaining plausible deniability. When federal investigators began dissecting that video frame by frame, they discovered something that changed everything. Digital forensics revealed IP addresses connecting the production to a contractor with a very specific history. Someone who had orchestrated influence campaigns in Eastern Europe, Africa, and 2 classified operations in the Middle East. Suddenly, Kelly's spontaneous message had fingerprints, real ones. The financial trail was even more damaging. Production costs exceeded $30,000, but that was just the beginning. Forensic accountants discovered a web of transactions spanning 14 different financial institutions across 7 countries. Money laundering specialists were brought in to decode the flow, and what they found resembled the funding architecture used in color revolution operations overseas. Shell corporations in Delaware connected to consulting firms in Switzerland, cryptocurrency transfers bouncing through exchanges in Eastern Europe, nonprofit organizations with boards composed entirely of former intelligence operatives. The financial fingerprints were identical to operations I'd studied in Ukraine, Georgia, and the failed attempts in Belarus. But here's what made my blood run cold. Hidden within those financial records were payments to social media influence networks, the same ones that had amplified disinformation campaigns during foreign elections. They weren't just targeting military command structure. They were preparing to manufacture public opinion to support whatever constitutional crisis they planned to create. 6 members of Congress don't casually fund that kind of professional operation without coordination, without planning, without someone writing much larger checks. Investigators traced payments flowing through nonprofits designed specifically to hide donor identities. The same financial fog I'd seen covering foreign influence operations overseas. And then came the bombshell that shattered Kelly's entire defense. The FBI discovered the video wasn't reacting to Trump's orders. It was pre-positioning for them. According to leaked investigative findings, this was strategic groundwork for a future impeachment attempt. The architects were trying to seed suspicion before any controversial command was ever given. They wanted doubt baked into the military's bloodstream, ready to activate the moment they needed a constitutional crisis. I watched Kelly's public response with the eye of someone who has seen empires collapse. His explanation contradicted statements he'd made just days earlier. The tremor in his voice was unmistakable. Body language experts noted micro-expressions consistent with deception under extreme stress. For a man who built his reputation on astronaut precision, the contradictions were catastrophic. Retired officers immediately pointed out that his interpretation of military law didn't match what enlisted troops learn in basic training. When a former Navy captain appears confused about fundamental chain of command principles, credibility evaporates instantly. But the most chilling discovery came when analysts compared the video's structure to previous psychological operations. Step 1. Establish authority through military credentials. Step 2. Define the threat as unpredictable and dangerous. Step 3. Offer the solution through potential disobedience. This wasn't political expression. It was a destabilization template identical to methods used to fracture foreign militaries from within. The investigation exploded across multiple agencies simultaneously. The Pentagon began exploring unprecedented recall authority against a sitting senator, but internal documents revealed something far more serious. Military lawyers were drafting charges under the Uniform Code of Military Justice that had never been applied to elected officials. Sedition, incitement to mutiny, conduct unbecoming. Legal precedents were being shattered in real time. Intelligence committees in both chambers received classified briefings that left lawmakers visibly shaken. Sources familiar with those briefings described a level of foreign coordination that bordered on espionage. Committee members who had supported Kelly just days before began distancing themselves publicly, understanding that association with this operation could end careers permanently. Counterintelligence teams activated protocols typically reserved for hostile nation-state activities. The same investigative frameworks used against Russian election interference and Chinese influence operations were now being applied to sitting members of Congress. When domestic politicians require foreign adversary investigation protocols, you understand how far past normal political boundaries this operation had traveled. The FBI opened formal interviews with all 6 lawmakers, and Trump's team ordered full-spectrum probes with no political protection for anyone involved. What happened next revealed the true scope of the operation. Giant billboards appeared overnight outside military installations, including Fort Bragg, carrying messages synchronized with the video's release. The timing was atomically precise. You don't achieve that kind of coordination through grassroots activism. This required funding, planning, and professional execution on a scale that only state-level operations can achieve. The financial investigation uncovered transfers from Soros-aligned organizations with documented histories of foreign influence campaigns. Shell companies appeared, intermediaries surfaced, and encrypted communication channels connected the lawmakers to former intelligence officials who had manufactured narratives abroad for decades. Kelly's protective bubble began deflating in real time. Democratic staffers were ordered into complete silence. Progressive commentators split into civil war, some defending the video, others condemning it as indefensible. The DNC issued full blackout orders. When your own party abandons messaging that quickly, it means the legal exposure is severe. The most devastating revelation came from digital forensics. The same contractor who had shaped destabilization efforts in multiple foreign theaters had coordinated this domestic operation. Language analysis showed structural similarities between the video script and previous psychological campaigns attributed to that network. The lawmakers weren't masterminds. They were amplifiers, chosen for credibility while the real architect operated from the shadows. What terrifies Washington insiders now isn't just the exposure of this single operation. It's the precedent Trump is setting. No immunity for undermining military command. No tolerance for foreign-funded influence targeting our armed forces. No protection for manufacturing constitutional crises in advance. The old rules of political warfare just died. I've seen this pattern throughout history. When leaders try to fracture military loyalty before any legitimate grievance exists, they're not protecting democracy. They're preparing to overthrow it. Kelly and his coordinators crossed a line that American politics had never crossed before. They targeted the chain of command itself, using foreign operational templates to pre-position doubt against a commander-in-chief who hadn't issued a single controversial order. The investigation hasn't closed a chapter. It has opened one that Washington's old guard never expected. Financial records are being subpoenaed, encrypted communications are being decrypted, and everyone who participated in this operation is discovering that political protection doesn't extend to activities that mirror foreign intelligence operations against American military institutions. Kelly's astronaut hero brand is finished. But more importantly, the network that used him as a front is being systematically exposed. When you follow foreign operational templates to target American military loyalty, you step outside the boundaries of domestic politics entirely. You enter territory where national security investigations have unlimited scope and unlimited determination. What happens next will determine how many others get unmasked, because this wasn't just Mark Kelly's secret plan. It was a coordinated assault on military discipline itself, and the evidence suggests similar operations are running simultaneously across multiple government sectors. DoD sources hint at parallel investigations targeting other institutions, and now everyone who contributed to it is about to learn that some lines, once crossed, lead to consequences that no political connection can reverse. The old Washington game just ended. The new rules are simple. Target America's military command structure. Face the full weight of American justice. No exceptions. No immunity. No protection. And that's exactly what Mark Kelly and his handlers are about to discover.